Good evening. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. It is Christmas evening here. I am actually broadcasting out of 105.3 and 107.7 on United Public Radio Network, otherwise known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network. We like to call it just UPRN. You are either listening to or watching The Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. And I decided tonight I was going to spend the evening with you. If you've never been here before, welcome. And if you've been here before, I also welcome you back. I decided to broadcast live this evening, Christmas Eve. And a little bit about myself, if you've never met me before, I am a host here on the network. My name, like I said, is Lorilei Potvin. I am a Canadian spiritual psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, registered nurse. I'm also very well versed in the paranormal. Hello, Michelle. It must be December 26th over there in Australia. I'm not sure if you celebrate Boxing Day. I know a lot of people don't around the world. We do here in Canada. It is Christmas Day here. It is 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I was saying I'm well versed in the paranormal. I have also studied near-death experiences professionally as well as personally for 40 years, and I had one as a toddler myself. And so if you want to join us, like Michelle is over in Australia, and you're listening, I understand 80% of our listening audience is audio only. But if you want to join in the conversation, we are streaming to you from UFO Paranormal Radio and United Public Radio next. Sorry, I'm reading Michelle's comments, getting distracted. Sorry. UFO Paranormal Radio Network, either on Facebook or YouTube. We're streaming to my YouTube, which is the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. Actually, I did think StreamYard doesn't like to play nice with my Facebook profile, so I usually have to share it as I'm going live. But I'm also streaming in my group, Paranormal University, on Canada's Most Haunted. And we're streaming to Instagram this evening on my profile, The Angel Rock, so you guys can see it there. And join in the conversation. Hello, love is. Merry Christmas and happy holidays if you celebrate. I decided to go live tonight because just over the last few weeks, I've been talking to a lot of people that have been feeling, pretty sad. There's been a lot of loss this year, and a lot of people haven't been able to afford to, say, go home for Christmas or whatever holiday they may celebrate with the way inflation has been and what. And we had all our Christmas celebrations early this year. My mother-in-law had agreed earlier that we were going to go out for dinner, and we didn't. She cooked and made a beautiful dinner, well, actually lunch on the 23rd. And then I was very lucky that my eldest son and his fiance had us over for dinner last night. So all the Christmasing was done this afternoon. My youngest tore through the presents and then went to his dad's, and then my eldest and his fiance and my grandpuppies came over. Hello, Kathy Hanley Little. Hi, and Merry Christmas to you as well. So I figured, why not go live? I was even talking to my neighbor next door, and she's in the same university program I was years ago. She's gone back, and she's just halfway through her second year of a four-year program to get her nursing degree. But her other job that she does when she's not in school is she is a funeral director, but she also does aftercare, we'll say, with the bodies of people that have moved on, or as I like to call it, going back home. And she said she's absolutely astounded that they are having, like, usually around this time of year, there's no celebrations, there's no ceremonies, there's no, not a lot of work to be done. And she said there is, oh, hi, Jackie, I missed you. Well, good thing I see Michelle say hi to you. Hi, Jackie Lane. Happy Christmas to you, too. Anyway, she had said that they are doing between 3 and I think 5 services a day, like right up. I hope not today. I saw that she was away. Hopefully she was at her family's and not at work, but to also right up to Christmas Day, it's been that way. And like I say, a lot of people have lost a lot of people this year. So I thought, I'm not doing anything except probably, just taking it easy. And I thought, well, why don't we come on and do the show live tonight? So that's what I'm doing. Sorry, my nose decided to run, of course, as I came in here. I'm not sick though. So I'd love to hear if you celebrate the holidays in the comments. How were your holidays? Did you have a nice time? Did you have a good Christmas? How are things for you? I had a nice Christmas. Ours are always quiet, and I enjoy that. Years ago, we used to do the craziness running back and forth to relatives here and there and having an open house. And I just decided, no, not anymore, especially with the, not that, you know, I drink a lot or anything like that, but we have very strict drinking and driving laws, as do most people around the world in developed countries that I know of, anyways. And it's too difficult and too expensive to get transportation. So a lot of people are staying home. So Michelle is saying crazy weather here in Australia at the moment. We're about to light our bonfire. Well, actually, Michelle, I was using your example with my youngest. I've mentioned him many times. He is an adult, but he has severe autism. So he's very excited about when Santa comes and there's toys. And he was so worried because I can tell you, 58, I will be 59 next August. I do not remember a winter like this. There is zero snow. You can be outside in a t-shirt. It is so warm. It's been a little gray and a bit misty over the last day or so, so you might need a light sweater. And he was so worried that if there isn't snow, Santa's not going to come. And I said to him, well, my friend over in Australia, and I have lots of friends over there, I said, I know one of them is out camping right now because they're in the middle of summertime. And you know, Santa comes to Australia and all over the world. So I think you'll be okay. So I'm going to read your comment. Oh, Love It said, thank you for coming on live tonight. Well, thank you. That's very kind. I'm very glad you're joining me here. And I see we got Z Sun Dragon here. And he is in Canada as well. He's on the East Coast, and he's saying zero snow here too. Oh, you were camping, you said, but had to pack up and come home, Michelle. Okay, so you're lighting your house fire. Okay. It's meant to be hot. Here, so crazy. You'll have to let me know. And then Kevin saying, or Z Sun Dragon, Merry Christmas to all. Michelle, oh, Sandra's here. See, I'm missing people. I'm not seeing you guys. I'm sorry. Hi, Sandra, if you're on here. Welcome. How did I miss you? I'm not seeing Facebook for some reason. If you're on Facebook, I have no idea why, because I know we're streaming over there. So if you're on Facebook and you're leaving comments and I'm not seeing you, feel free to hop over to, you can go to UFO Paranormal Radio on YouTube, or just come to my YouTube channel, which is the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin, because I have no idea why, but there could be a reason. It could be we broadcast out of the archive server, like the server in the network owner's home. And I did give him a heads up I'd be going live tonight, but it's Christmas. He may be spending it with family and just didn't turn it on. And that's okay if he didn't too, because I don't see that it is broadcasting. So we'll get some people, but we won't get our usual lots and lots of people, because that's how we connect out to the rest of the world. And on the radio is through there. So I'm guessing maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Either way, we'll get people here. We got a lot of our usual crew here, so I'm glad to see you all here. So I was doing a lot of research. People are doing a lot of countdowns and a lot of, best of or craziness of the year. And I was just watching. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this channel before. I'm going to look it up right now so I get the name right. It's called That Is Impossible. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through the most mysterious videos of 2023. And I was looking at this, and he's got some interesting things going on in here. And he was covering some of the trends that I've seen this year. And I was going to ask any of you out there if you've heard of this before. It's called supposedly red mercury. And he's got a whole clip on that. A bunch of people, there's some kind of stone. I guess it was found in Egypt, they're claiming. And they're also claiming it's come from around the pyramids. So is it extraterrestrial? I'm not sure. But now, again, I was glad that he said this, because I think we have to have a healthy dose of skepticism. but they're calling it red mercury because it appears to move a bit like regular mercury that we know. But this, and there was some in this stone that somebody took, and they put it beside a bottle of water, and it turned blood red, the water. Then they were using, if they, I don't know how these people are getting little bits and pieces of it. They seem to be local in the area, and they would bring it close to electrical sources, and it would interfere and shut off the power. Like they would have a light, and as they pulled back, the power would come back on. And then they were saying, and again, this sounds so crazy. So that's why I'm wondering if you guys have heard of this, because it says they were somehow equating it to Dracula and garlic, this red mercury, because somebody, I don't know what would ever possess someone to try it, but someone was taking raw garlic. And when you went near it, this thing almost, it was a blob of it. And it almost looked like it was alive, like it was creeping away. And it's almost a blood red. It's not blood though. It acts just like mercury. Like if you separated it, it would all kind of move with force right back to be one piece. And it's got some really strange properties. So I thought, hey, I'll ask you all about that, see if you'd heard of that. I was doing a bit of research on it earlier in the year, but I haven't heard much more about it. I'm just going to read Kevin's comment. He says, just finished watching Family Switch Christmas show. Family Body Switch Dog and Baby are hilarious on Netflix. I'll have to watch that because I haven't really watched anything new. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's your favorite movie for the holidays? I have two, and they're must-haves. I'll watch some of the classics that I do enjoy, not the remakes, but the classics. But my absolute, hi, Herbert Lopez, welcome. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or just having you here, even if you don't celebrate, I'm glad to have you here. So my favorite that I have to watch is Love Actually. And I love that movie. I knew about it when it came out, and they were talking about making a sequel to it. I hope they don't, because it was such a good movie. And it's, it starts about 5 weeks before Christmas. Oh, Kevin saying just happened upon it and it was a good laugh. So that was something he found on Netflix. So I'll have to check that out. And then the other one I have to watch is It's a Wonderful Life. I do love that movie because I think that can teach us a lot about life in general. It's not just a holiday movie, right? And we don't think about these things. And especially when people are feeling alone, or maybe they're feeling, there's nobody around me, nobody cares about me, nobody would care if I was even around. And you have no idea how many people's lives that one person touches and can change the trajectory of things. And it's true. And it really was a wonderful gift. That was one of the lines in the movie, because it was George Bailey that got to find out what life would have been like if he had never been born. And you have no idea the effect you have on other people. Michelle, you've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. Well, what had happened, my mother, when I was young, used to love old movies, and I hated them. I found them boring. I didn't want to sit through them. And she encouraged me to sit down and watch It's a Wonderful Life. And at the end of it, I turned to her and I actually said, I was wrong. This is a really good movie. And I'm not giving anything away by talking about the plot of the movie, because it sort of centers the storyline, without giving too much away, around Christmas. But there's a bigger picture with it. Okay, so Love Is says, I woke up this morning with the realization that I don't want to spend the rest of my life alone. So let's talk about that for a minute. I'm going to read your comments about your favorite movies. Thanks for sharing. Now, there's something to be said about that, right? So we can make a decision that maybe we don't want to be alone if we've been isolating ourselves, or maybe not getting involved with anybody else, whether it's a friend or a romantic partner, whatever it is, because we don't want to be hurt. Or maybe you've decided that it's time for a relationship. But just remember one thing, and it's so important to remember this. And I'm not saying this specifically to you, love is. I'm saying this to anybody out there. Just remember that nobody can make you happy. The only person that can make you happy is you. And we see all these things, especially at this time of year, about couples having somebody as a romantic partner, or, not having to go alone to things or whatever that might be. But remember, and especially when you see it on social media and YouTube and, TikTok and all these things, you get a tiny little snippet of that photograph, or it could be a video clip. And remember that I'm not saying everybody, but there are a lot of people out there that make it look like it's the most perfect relationship out there. And it's anything but behind the camera. No, I'm not saying that relationships can't be wonderful and amazing. And yes, they should be. They should be. But remember, there's ups and there's downs. So if you're deciding that maybe it's time to put yourself out there and you want to meet somebody, I hope that something like this resonates with you, that you want to be able to share who you are and your gifts and, just the love that you have to share with someone else. But just remember that if we're not happy with ourselves, or we're really unhappy, that somebody else is not going to fix that. So just something to put out there. Now I'm going to go through, but thank you for sharing that, love is, because like I said, this wasn't directed at you, but I thought it was a good point to make, because a lot of people do feel that way. That's especially at this time of year. And I've been there. I've been single, and everybody's got a partner, and I'm going to parties and everywhere else, or at Christmas. And that's when we really, really notice it seems. And then if you go to a family function, I can't tell you how many I was at that, like, why don't you have a partner with you? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? And what am I going to do? You want me to rent a partner to bring to a party so it'll make you happy and you'll stop asking questions? Because we all know those wonderful people that are around us that ask every question. And then if you would have come with someone, they would have asked you how serious it was, or are you getting married, or are you having, like I said, we all know we have people around us like that sometimes. So what I've been telling myself, when I might have to be around somebody that's difficult, and I'm not trying to make this sound egotistical, but I'm going to give them the gift of patience, or the gift of tolerance, or the gift of whatever it may be, rather than, because we all have been there, and I'll leave it at that. So Herbert Lopez says, I have 3 favorites, all classics: It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, and White Christmas. And I have seen all 3 of those. I like Miracle on 34th Street. I've watched that as well. I always watch the original. I never understand, and maybe I'm missing something here, but why there's always the need to remake classics or really good movies. I always think, if you like the characters from there or the story premise, why not write a new script and a new movie, or bring some other characters in? But why remake the old movie? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old in my old age. I don't know. But I just think if something's not broke, why try and fix it? I guess that's what I'm saying. Kathy Hanley Little says, my all-time favorite movie is The Bishop's Wife, with Cary Grant, Loretta Young, and David Niven. Now, Kathy, I think you mentioned that before. I don't think I've ever seen that. I might have to watch that, because I think somebody else mentioned that movie as well. I remember you mentioning it, but I think there was somebody else that did too. And then Michelle says, something about never, and she says, I bet my siblings wished I was never born. Oh, well, I was. LOL. Hang on, you're going to grab a drink. Well, just remember that we all have a choice. And what I mean by that is, we have a choice about who we choose to share our energy with and who we don't. And the reason I say this is, I don't see my family, and I'm not saying that your family is like my family, and I'm not telling people to not see their family. When I'm saying from a personal experience, that it got to the point with family and my only sibling, that every time I left there, I was either feeling very hurt or very sad or angry. And I just came to the realization one day that they're never going to change unless they choose to. But that has to come from within. And the only thing I could change is how much time I choose to spend with them, if any, and how I react. And I decided to make those decisions. And I can tell you right now, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now if my family was speaking to me. I guarantee you. As a psychic medium, my mother laughs at people that do what I do. And it's not about a boohoo story. What I'm sharing is I made that choice. I also made peace with the fact that if, if God forbid, and I would never wish this on anybody, there's no ill will, there's no anger, there's no hatred on my part. It's just that if they had gotten hit by a bus, say a week later or something like that, I had to be okay with the fact that I wasn't going to have guilt or regrets with it, and had done everything I possibly could to make the best of a relationship. And the reason I'm sharing this is there may be somebody out there listening who might need to hear that or might resonate with them. And so I send them love. I think about them. And the other thing is I know that the conversations that will happen when we all return back home. Because I remind myself that the people that are, say, my parents or my sibling, are not really who they are on a soul level, right? They're playing the role of my mother, my father, and my brother. And they're here as a human being having an experience. But I really, truly believe we're eternal souls and we go on forever. And so I don't know if that'll help you or not. And just be, if you can, Michelle, you know what? And it's not easy being around family at this time of year. But just remember that we're all here for a reason and that you get to choose how much time you spend with people. And if you have to ask yourself, and I've said this even to my youngest son when he gets angry, and sometimes I get bullied playing a video game. And of course, I have to use terms that are appropriate, but I say to him, your energy is precious, each and every one of you. And you get to decide who you're going to spend it with. And if you're around people that make you miserable, or they're mean to you, or they bully you, or they're just really nasty to you, you don't have to tolerate that. And I'm not saying engage and get into an argument, but choose who you spend your energy with. So you could choose to spend your energy with people who appreciate you and love you. And like my son will engage with the autism and get very angry. And I say, you're giving them what they want. You're giving them your energy. And you know what? You don't need that, nor do you have to put up with that. So no, I'll step off my soapbox here. But like I said, just remember, okay, you matter too. Everybody matters. Everybody's here for a reason. And regardless of what somebody else may think of you, all you got to worry about is what you do. And if you're out there and you truly are doing your best and trying to do your best and putting out the, as best as you can with love or for your good or other people's greatest good, be peace with that, and that's okay. And our siblings are our siblings. They're not going to change either. They're, like I said, the only people that are going to change that we can change is ourselves until they want to. So Levis says, I haven't seen that movie either. Darn, don't you guys just wish we could have had a watch party tonight and we could watch the movie? Wouldn't that have been fun? We can't, but it would have been fun. And then Levis says, you're absolutely right. I know I'm not ready yet. And that's okay, Levis, when it comes to relationships, okay? And if you feel like you're not ready yet, and sometimes a lot of people don't look at it this way, when we're on our own, sometimes it's a gift, okay? Because think about it, when we're involved with somebody else, sometimes we don't always have the freedom or the funds or the time to do the things that we always wanted to do. So I always encourage people when I say have a reading with them or a session or whatever, that take this time to work on you, right? We can all work on ourselves. We all could use healing. We could all, there's things probably we've always said, I wish I had the time to, or I wish I had the courage, I wish I had the money, whatever it may be. There's things that people have always wanted to do, including myself. So when you're on your own, you have the time to do this. You're free as a bird. Not that you're not and you don't have the choice, but when there's more than one person involved, or you're in a relationship, or there's a family or children or what have you, you get pulled in many different directions. And this is the time when you can work on you. And we are the hardest critics on ourselves. So this is the time you can work on the things, even if it is just learning to love ourselves, or to do things and learn what makes us happy, so that you know what makes you happy. That I believe that when we work on ourselves, we heal ourselves, and we're in a place of where we're really happy, right? We definitely, because sometimes we can become needy. All of us can too, right? When we're looking for somebody to make us happy, or we've been single for a long time and we're in a relationship, right? And remember, like attracts like energy. So be very clear with the universe too, what you're looking for, say, in a partner, and what do you bring to the table, right? So if we're looking for someone to make us happy, just remember all those, and I've seen them, and they purposely do it at this time of year, and the same thing the new year, right? All the weight loss things, because everybody's going to go, not everybody, but you know what I mean. We see it everywhere on TV, on commercials, whatever. It's a new year, it's a new you, it's a new, and they know people are going to see it, and I think they play on that. So and it's a work in progress, myself included, to love ourselves. But I think when we can truly be comfortable in our own skin, love ourselves and appreciate ourselves, and know that we're okay with spending time with ourselves, or what truly makes us happy, then we don't search for that happiness outside of ourselves, that we have it within. And I hope that resonates with some of you. And Michelle says, it's harder to trust new people as I get older. Michelle, do you think it is because as we get older, we get to meet more and more people? Sometimes we get our heart broken more as we get older, and we become wary of people. And when we look at that sometimes, right, and might not want to put ourselves out there, because we know what hurt feels like, and nobody wants to go through that. Nobody does. But just know that not everybody's an idiot. Not everybody's nasty. Not everybody's going to break your heart. And the only way we're ever going to, say, develop a deeper relationship, whether that's romantic or it's a friendship, right? It's 50-50. So if we're holding back or we're afraid, and that's okay too. If someone's perfectly happy and comfortable with that, and with themselves and in their own skin, there's nothing wrong with that. But when we hold back, I don't know. I'm going to put it out there. And just having worked in palliative care and people that have had a terminal illness, I think when we hold back and we don't put our whole self out there, that there's a lot of regrets. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, see what you think. And Michelle said, I'm finding that for me. That's okay that I didn't know what kind of show we were going to do today. I just, like I say, I do it every show. I just say, Spirit, where are we going to go with this? And the way we go. So that's why I love your comments. That's why I love doing shows with just you, all of y'all, and myself, because we get to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So Michelle says, my favorite Christmas song, I know this song, is Snoopy's Christmas. And you found a new song I like, and then she left us hanging. So I got to scroll down. And Herbert says, they usually remake the movie, but the premise stays the same. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I know what you're saying, Herbert, like the general gist of the story. Okay, the one that really, really disappointed me was Ghostbusters, when they tried to put 4 females in the role of that were originally men. And I think it didn't do that well compared to the previous movies. That's what I'm talking about, your classics like that. And I understand maybe that people want to remake it for whatever reason. I don't know. I just think it was the same thing when James Bond, right? They're always trying to change James Bond, a classic character, a classic story. And I know there was a major uproar when they were trying to make James Bond a female. And myself being a female and many people I talked to, including females, there's nothing wrong with having a James Bond like character that's a female, but write a new story and don't call her James Bond. She can be his cousin. She can be his sister, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So when they mess with classics, I don't know. I just don't understand it. Like I said, just write a new storyline based on the premise or whatever that might be. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. So Michelle said new song she likes. It's by Pilot called "It's Christmas." Sung to the song. It's magic. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Hi, Julie Jean Bassett. How are you? Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And to anybody else listening, like I said, Facebook is not coming through. So if any of you are seeing Facebook people out there, and if you're obviously you're going to hear it, but I'm not seeing the comments. So if you want to come over to either UFO Paranormal Radio, the YouTube channel, or if it's easier, you can find my channel, which is the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. And then we can see your comments because we'd love to have you join in the show tonight live. And so Michelle says, thank you. You're so welcome, Michelle. And Jackie Lane says, some people you have to love them from afar. And Jackie Lane, the big long speech I just gave could have been summed up in that beautiful sentence you just said. Some people you have to love from afar. Those just rings, that sentence just rings so true. You are absolutely right. And you go, it's a lesson in boundaries. You are absolutely right. I can tell you all right now too, for myself, I know that's one of my lessons in this lifetime is boundaries. Definitely boundaries. And thank you, Kevin. He said, well said, Laura Lee. Nicole Thomas Ryan, hello. She says, hi, Merry Christmas, Nicole. I hope you're feeling better. Poor Nicole got the flu for Christmas. I saw that on Facebook, so I hope you're feeling better. Well, she's coming through on Facebook. First person I'm seeing on Facebook. So I don't know how, but it's finally working. So I'm seeing you on there. So Merry Christmas. So Kathy said, I've always been the caregiver. Now that I am alone, I am discovering who I am and what I love. I just love that, Kathy. I really, really do. And I'm so glad that you've shared that. Now, the beauty in it is, it's easier said than done, right? But we never really are alone. I always tell people, whether you believe in your guides and your angels and things like that, they believe in you. And even if you never meet them in this lifetime, okay, it's not really from across the veil. The veil isn't really a veil, if you will. And it's not like the other side is eons and bajillion miles away. It's not. Our loved ones are with us. Don't get me wrong. I would be the first one, I still say it, that all of us would prefer to have our loved ones in physical form. But they hear us. They're there. Every single one of you who is missing someone you love at Christmas. And again, I am so sorry for your loss. Your loved ones are there with you. They really are. And if you need a sign from them to let you know, ask for it. It can be pretty obscure too, but just be open to the obscurity of it. So I always use something like a yellow butterfly. You don't have to ask for a yellow butterfly. You can ask them to send you a dill pickle. I don't know, anything you want. It can be really weird and strange, but dill pickle doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a dill pickle in the mail, for example. You might, I don't know. Spirits done stranger things. But you might see a dill pickle showing up. And no, it's not your phone listening to you. I'm talking about different things. Somewhere when you're out on a billboard, somewhere else. And it keeps showing up and you start realizing there's no way for this to be just serendipitous. I don't like to use the word coincidence because I don't believe in coincidences. And you'll know. I'm serious. When you ask for it, spirit will comply. Kathy, you said me. I'm behind in my comments. And Nicole says, that's so true. Julie says, preach, sister. Oh, hi, Christopher James. Merry Christmas. Glad to have you here. Happy holidays. And Nicole, when we were talking about relationships, said all relationships start with joy, trust, honesty, and friendship. And one of the big things I'm seeing when I'm working with people, doing readings and things like that is if there are red flags, especially in the beginning, but you know what it's like when everybody's in a new relationship, right? The birds are singing, the sky is bluer, the sun is shining brighter. If you start to see red flags in the beginning, please don't because if someone's going to show you who they are, believe them. And I'm not being negative about that, but I see, especially in new relationships, a lot of people will make excuses for things. And believe it or not, I have a favorite meme. I'll see if I can find it while I'm talking to you. And I have a couple sayings, but there's one in particular. I'll have to go through my favorites. So give me a sec. And it talks about, and I just was talking about this to myself today, believe it or not. And what it was, it has to do with boundaries and things. But basically, it talks about that if you don't like the way people are treating you, it's time to basically, it's talking about bargain bottom. I might have to go into another part of my phone. I'd rather read it to you guys. And I shared it with some friends recently, and they went, oh my goodness, I love this, and ended up sharing it. It's not mine. It just, I ended up coming across it and I saved it. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. I have to go through media. As soon as I see it, I'll find it if my phone will ever load here. Let me go grab a quick energy drink. I'm going on about 2 hours sleep after wrapping till 5:36 in the morning. Come on, phone. Are you going to load here? Internet's slow, probably because everybody's here. I will find it as I'm talking, but Love Is says regret is worse than failure. And I can honestly agree with you. I've never, ever seen people, and I've looked after, not that it matters to me in any way, shape, or form, people that were the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor, and those that made a lot of money, even those that didn't. Never, ever, one of the regrets was never, I wish I made more money. It was always about the time they spent with the people that they spent, and not waiting. You had people waiting maybe till retirement, until they traveled to that dream vacation, or waiting until they lost that last 20 pounds or whatever it was, that really made no difference in the big scheme of things. And the biggest regret people had that I saw at end of life was wishing they had told the people around them how much they loved them, including how much the person that was going to be leaving, how much they loved them and how much the other people meant to them every single day, and to make the most of it. My phone is not behaving, you guys. I will find it. Give me a sec here. Are you going to load? My goodness. Maybe we'll try searching. Holy cow. I can't believe how slow the internet is this evening. Give me 1 second here. I'll see if it shows up if I do this. Are you going to show up? You're still searching. So I'll go down. I won't forget. I'll read it to you guys as I'm going down here. And Herbert says, I know what you mean when they tried to remake it. So it's a wonderful. Are you talking Wonderful Life with female leads? And Christopher James says, great wisdom. Thank you. Nicole says, I was on Facebook and wondered why you didn't see me. I am here now. Yeah, I did. I don't know. I think what's happening is that the archive server is not on because it's Christmas Day. And I did let the person that owns the network, it's out of his home though. And most people don't broadcast live on Christmas. Like I can probably tell you, anybody that's having a show tonight is probably pre-recorded if they're doing one at all. And that's okay. Like we're never told anyways, like we're never forced to broadcast. It just, I didn't have anything special this evening to do. For those of you that are joining a bit later, I said this at the beginning, and I had noticed that a lot of people have had a lot of loss this year, or the way inflation is going, a lot of people can't afford to go home. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just do a show tonight? And I love when I do shows with all of you. I really, really do. When I used to do podcasting on a previous network years ago, I never planned on being a podcaster. And of course, I was going to say no. And I heard Spirit say yes when I got asked. And I did a show Monday through Fridays. And it was supposed to be 2 hours. And there was a bit of a scheduling snafu. Thank goodness, because it was not on video. It was only on audio. And so you really couldn't have any dead air. And I still did 2 hour shows, but not every night. But the first night I actually Mondays and Thursdays, I was usually on the air for about 6 hours because I would do my show. And then the host after me, we did a lot of work together. And she usually had a female paranormal panel, and it went quite long. So anyways, when I'd have to do shows on my own, I would sometimes dread it in the beginning because I kept thinking, what am I going to talk about? And now I love to do them. I would do it every week on my own if I could. Okay, this is the saying we're talking about that I was trying to find this. If you aren't being treated with love and respect, check your price tag. And this is something I reminded my own self today. Believe it or not, I did. It says, maybe you've marked yourself down. It's you who tells people what you're worth. Get off the clearance rack and get behind the glass where they keep the valuables. So remember that, y'all. And that's why I'm saying you get to choose, you do. And when we're around people maybe that cause us a lot of heartache and stress, like when it was just said, please forgive me because I'm going to have to go back to see it. I can see the name, and do you think I could say it? Anyways, you'll remind me that you said this, but I thought it was beautiful about the fact sometimes you have to love certain people from afar. So, and Kathy Hanley Little says, I do believe that my loved ones are with me. Well, I was even thinking if you want to do that, we can try. I don't have an SB7. I'm working on it. Like what Jonathan, my friend Jonathan from JK47 Paranormal has, but I do have a few apps we could try if you wanted and just see what happens. You never know, right? Might be a lot of fun. We'll see who comes through. And then Linda Nelson says, I know they are here. I feel them, but it's still hard, especially when they are gone much too young and through violence. I hear you. It's not interesting in a good way, but I run into many people that are within the paranormal, and the paranormal is basically just not the norm that everybody, everyday life that people go through, right? And how many of us follow true crime? And we do. And speaking of my friend Jonathan from JK47 Paranormal, I just say that I didn't even see you there, Jonathan, till now. He says, hey, Lorilei, Merry Christmas. Well, if he's still hanging out here, maybe he can fire up his SB7. I hate to put him on the spot like that with it being Christmas and everything, but if he's free, if not, we can even do that with one of my apps. So Linda Nelson said, we can't teach our children that early enough. And so Facebook is starting to come through now. Maybe Joe got to turn the server on. He might have. I did send him a message that I was going to be broadcasting live, and he'll usually get back to me. So, and it's such a busy time of year. So it didn't matter to me if he was able to do it, fine, because that's how it goes out to the whole world. And if not, that might have been why we're not seeing Facebook. So we got a Facebook user here. So Mike, I forgot to mention to you guys too, I'm sure most of you that are here know this, but the other people listening, I do co-host a second show. We are coming up to our first year anniversary right at the first Thursday after New Year's, the thing at the foot of the bed. We have been on here for a year, and that's with my very good friend, David Hansel, very talented medium. And so you guys make sure you check that out. I have talked to Dave a bit. He sent me all kinds of stuff. I know he went live last night. I think, Jonathan, you joined him on TikTok. But I was going to try, because he had told me 10 o'clock my time, originally Christmas Eve. And then we were on another host on the network who I just adore, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. And she has her live show 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays with Spirit Switchboard. And she ended up giving away for her 12 days of giving she does every year at the beginning of December. I think it was day 11. Somebody that, commented and was following her on her psychic medium, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn page, she gave away a 2-hour spot to be on Spirit Switchboard. So that was on the 22nd that David and it was Jen who joined or who won. And she's just amazing. Her and her husband, I think it's like almost like a haunted church in Southern Ontario. And we had a great time on that. Linda says, yes, I'm on Facebook. And then Herbert says, I really like that saying about getting behind the glass. So do I. And I actually found, that's why I had a hard time finding it. And it's in my favorites. But I found that a long, long time ago. There's another one that I think is appropriate. I'm going to share. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's from my guilty pleasure. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do love Supernatural. I'll see if I can find it for you. Let's see if it'll come up in. No, of course it's not going to. We'll see. I know I've got it saved in my favorites. Here it is. It says, family don't end in blood. It doesn't start there either. Family cares about you, not what you can do for them. Family's there for the good, the bad, all of it. They got your back even when it hurts. That's family. And the character that said this was like an adopted father to the two main characters. This is how he talked. But he was telling them we're family, even though we may not be by blood family, we're family. And I love that story. I love that because sometimes you get to choose who your family is, and that's not so bad either, right? Oh, Linda says, I love your sweater. Thank you. I saved it for tonight. This was my ugly Christmas sweater that I saved for tonight. It's way too big, like ginormous. It's like a 2X. So I forget where I was watching. Oh, I know where I was. I was at my eldest son. He does drag part-time. And both of my boys are very tall. I come from small people. Their father comes from small people. Their father's just about 6 feet tall, but as a woman, I'm not short. Before I hurt my back, I was almost 5'10". I'm about 5'8" and a half, 5'8" and 3/4. So I'm not small either. So my eldest son, they were really sweet. I went to his Christmas show and they called out that I was there with him. A couple of us moms go. There's 2 of us that always go. And then the host said, how come your mom's so short? And I said, I'm not short. And then I realized compared to my son in heels, he's like 6'9". I guess I did look short. So I'm glad that you like that. Like I say, this is why I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. So do you guys want to do some readings? Do you want to talk about spooky stuff? Do you want to see if we can connect with loved ones using some of the apps? Like, what would you like to do? And Herbert says, I was going to mention, get the award for the ugly sweater this year. Thank you. Well, I love Jack Skellington. I love skulls. If you know me, I love skulls, like love them. So the reason why this show is called The Angel Rock, because there's some new people here, is because I love angels. I connect with angels on the other side and other high vibrational beings. I love crystals, but I also love rock music. So I got lipstick or dog hair or something going on my lip there. Sorry. So that's why it's called The Angel Rock. So Cindy Mitch says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas to you. And Love Is says, a little of everything. All right. There was one app I wanted to try that I've been seeing a lot of people using, and I did not download it. So I'm going to download it while we're talking and we'll try it. I just want to make sure I got it written down properly. But I have a few, and I know David my co-host was testing a few, and some of them are okay, and some of them weren't. And then we can even share some videos. We can do whatever you want. If you guys have questions, maybe you want to ask, you need a reading, quick 1-question reading. I just thought we'll just have kind of a little bit of everything. So if you want and you're comfortable and you'd like to share how your holiday is, feel free to share. Or if you got something special or maybe something special, or even if you're maybe having a little bit of a hard time this year, because we've got a great group of people here and other people can certainly uplift you here. That's what we all do for one another and send you love. So readings would be nice too, Love Is says. That is why you and Faye Garza get along so great. Herbert says, well, actually, Faye and Roger used to be on this network. And I get really lucky because I get to help produce. So I get to meet a lot of the new hosts. And that's how I met Faye and Roger. And just so you all know, I am joining Faye and Roger on Saturday, next Saturday. So I think it's, let me check. I haven't had a lot of sleep, you guys, so if I have to keep checking things. Yeah, I thought it was the 30th. So Saturday, December 30th at 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern in AM, I'm going to be on This Mug's For You with Roger and Faye. So I'll get to see you all there. So Cindy's, let's see. So Love Is says, this is my holiday, LOL. And Nicole says, I have had the flu and it has not seemed like Christmas. I'm so sorry. I said, I hoped you were feeling better. That just sucks. And Cindy says, amazing Christmas here for me. And I'm so happy for you. Actually, my eldest son really spoiled me this year. And I couldn't believe what he did. So I love Sanrio. There's Hello Kitty, most people know, but I love, her name is Kiromi. And she has a little twin, I guess, and her twin is all sugar and spice, and her name's My Melody. And I love Kiromi. Well, here, I'll show you what Kiromi looks like. This is Kiromi. She's kind of the more naughtier one. Not really, but she's got a little skull she wears on her hat. It's pink. And she's got these cute little black ears. I have my niece absolutely in love with Kiromi. She lives in Toronto and they come up every summer. And her mom knew this because I don't have my coffee cup. I make tumblers. My tumbler has Kiromi on it. If you ever see me drinking out of it, and I made it, it's got my name on it and everything. Anyways, my niece came up again, and her brother and mom and dad this summer, and she had a new Kiromi robe, and I forget what else she had. And then, of course, here's old Auntie Laura, 58, and my niece is 8, and we're right in there thick as thieves talking all about Kiromi. And her mom walks in and goes, is that how she found out about Kiromi? And I said, yeah, you knew that last year. So my son bought me, he was in Toronto, and I guess he went to a little Japanese store, and he bought me the cutest nightlight, Kiromi nightlight. She's in a little moon, half moon, and she's sitting in the middle. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. And then he was very generous, him and his fiance, and bought me a gift certificate for Amazon. So guess who's going to be going shopping? Aww. So Danielle Long, oh, Merry Christmas, Danielle. Thank you for joining us. And she said, Merry Christmas. I hope next year is better for me. And I hope so it is for you. And hopefully you can get a little bit of happiness hanging out with the rest of us here. And Julie says, I've been sick too this Christmas. Oh, Julie, I'm so sorry too. She said, Spirit was telling me I needed to rest. I ignored it and kept plugging along, and Spirit forced me to rest. That's what happens, doesn't it? And I've never looked at it this way, because usually when I get a virus, I get it, like people have it for a couple days and I'll get it for 6 to 8 weeks. And I kept saying, how as a nurse do I not have an immune system? And then I realized I don't really go out that much anymore now that I'm not able to work with my back physically. So when I do go out and there's germs flying around, it's pretty easy to get caught up on it. So I would never give medical advice as a nurse or on here, but for myself, I've done some research and I've really started upping a lot of different vitamins to help with the immune system. So Danielle says, love your sweater. Thank you. And Julie says, Kiromi sounds adorable. She is. Oh my goodness. And it's so expensive, right? Over in Japan, it's like, in Japan, it's not a cheap place to buy things, but it's much more affordable to buy things from Sanrio than it is here. Like you can see Hello Kitty in most everywhere. Like I think there's La Creme shop that makes face masks and beauty products and stuff. They have every character, of course, except Kiromi. And Julie says, I love your sweater too. Very festive. Thank you. Where I was going with it, why it's so big, It's like a men's 2X. It is huge, but it's comfy. So we said that's what I was doing, checking on, see, that's what I've been like all day today. I've been going, what's your name? When I'm calling my kids, I don't know if you guys ever had your parents do that, right? Especially our mothers would call us by every name except our own. And I know myself, I say, don't you know my name? And now as I'm getting older and my son, my eldest always knows how much I've slept. He'll say, Mom, did you even sleep tonight? Because he'll know, because I get really forgetful, and well, of course we will if we don't sleep. And so he knows these things, and I've been like that all week. Oh, Julie says, I love big sweaters, so comfy. I don't usually wear sweaters. Like, I have a really pretty Christmas sweater I forgot about I bought this year. It's black and white. I'm looking at it, and it's got little white moose, and it's got black snowflakes. Like, it's almost in like big stripes. So Nicole says, I take vitamin C, B complex, zinc, and elderberry daily. I do. I don't take the B complex. Zinc, I have to be careful with because I have to eat with it. Otherwise, it bothers my stomach. But I do have a little protocol that I've shared with people, like friends, that is if they're starting to feel like it's a flu. I try to go to something natural. I always say, even though I come from a big PHARMA, because we're on Facebook, background, I always look for something natural. And the little niece I told you about that loves Kuromi like I do, her mother is a naturopathic doctor. And I can talk to her whenever I want, but when she's up here, I usually talk to her about medical type things. And I don't know if you could get it in the States. I'm sure you could. It's called oxylococcinum, and it's actually very good when you have the flu and colds and stuff like that. It's just a natural type thing, and it does work. Echinacea works wonders too with colds, flus, things like that if you catch it very early. So Linda Nelson says, I do that to my kids, even calling them pet names, even though they're in their late 30s and 40s. Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I think we all do that, right? Our babies never stop being our babies, ever. So here I am. Oh, I was looking for the name. See what happens? I get off on a tangent here, and then I forget what I was looking for. I think I know the name of it. I just don't want to download. I don't want to download the wrong app. And I know I put it in here. So it might be right there. Give me a sec. There it is. I knew it was. Give me 1 second. I'll download it. It's a paid app, but I wanted to try it out. So if we're going to do some spirit communication, why not? Necrometer, it's called. Oh, I put a T at the end. We don't need that. Yeah, it's not a cheap one, so I hope I've been seeing it on a few different channels, so let's try it out. We'll try it out and see what it's like. I found most of these apps, I couldn't figure out why I could not get the sound on them, and I got to put my face here. Sorry, guys. Now it liked it because I wasn't looking at it. What do these apps do? They give us live communication, Linda, with the other side. Jonathan was here. He probably just popped in, but Jonathan from JK47, he has a real gift with it, and it's called ITC. Now, I've heard it called intratrans communication. I know there's another word for the I, but by using different types of energy waves and things like that, the theory is that spirit, and I call that collectively, anybody that's gone back home, as I call it, has passed away, whatever it may be, is able to utilize that energy and can communicate in live time. And we've done it before. Herbert had mentioned Faye. The night I had hit Jonathan up, I didn't plan it. I'd done a show on my own. And Jonathan came on, and she got to hear from her brother, Kenny. So anyways, where I was going with Jonathan is he uses his skills with ITC, and it's called electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. And he connects with those across the veil, back home, whatever you want to call it. And he tries to help with cold cases and solving crimes that haven't been solved before. We did something called an Estes method. Now, Jonathan lives on the West Coast in the US. I'm in smack dab in the middle of Canada, about 35, 40 minutes away from the Minnesota border in a city called Thunder Bay. And there was an escaped convict quite a few months ago by the name of Danilo Cavalcante. And they had the US finest out there trying to find this guy. Like they had the US Marshals, they had like special elite forces. Nobody could find this guy and kept being cited. He was caught on trail cams. And Jonathan from Spirit on the other side in real time. And remember, he's in Colorado. This was happening in Pennsylvania. He was able to pinpoint where this guy was holding up in this little tiny cabin on one of the, I think it was a river that went through Pennsylvania. Now, this guy was moving constantly, and I said to him, well, it's not like you can call up the FBI or whoever, the local police there and say, by the way, this is where he's staying. First thing they're going to say is, how do you know that? We're going to say, well, Spirit told me. And then my co-host Davis said, well, there is an anonymous tip line. But Jonathan's brother, who was very sadly lost his life in the line of duty, I believe, as I understand it, his brother was a U.S. Marshal. So Jonathan knew somebody he could contact. But I guess this convict ended up escaping. That guy was on the loose for over 11, I think it was 11 days. So the Estes method involves Jonathan, you're supposed to wear a blindfold, but Jonathan kept his eyes closed and he had sound. He couldn't hear outside sound. He could only hear what was coming through. And his box is called an SB7. And I was asking questions. So he couldn't hear the questions I was answering. He was only repeating what he could hear coming from the box, and it was pretty cool. We didn't really tape it or anything. We just sort of tried it off air because we were seeing what would come through for this escaped convict if there was somewhere else visiting. So that's called the Estes method. So I'm not sure how the necrometer works. We'll have to give it a test here. We'll see. I just downloaded it. I've seen it quite a few teams that I respect on YouTube started using this. So we'll see. It's got text and it's got speech. Oh, that's why. Okay, hang on. We'll try in the sound. So what you're hearing is a white noise. This would be the type of energy. Now, sometimes people in the beginning have used radios that scan really, really quickly. And Spirit is able to manipulate the radio waves. So you will hear, how you hear a phrase from say a commercial. Spirit could make that come through in answer to a question that you could hear. So it's pretty interesting. So I'm not sure if we're going to hear anything. Is there anybody out there that would like to say, we'll say Merry Christmas. We'll see what happens. And I don't know if it's going to work or not, but that's how you find out, right? You test these things. And I may not even be doing it properly because I just downloaded it. So let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, we got reverb. Hang on one sec. Oh, good thing. We'll stick with the human voice. I don't think you guys want to hear the robot or the whisper voice, do you? Okay, done. I'm not hearing anything yet. Let's try. Like I said, I haven't used this one before, but I wanted to download it. So the one that I've used that I see a lot of teams, like I really do respect you. If you've been here before, you've heard me mention it. I call them my boys. It's Paranormal Nightmare. It's the Foreman brothers. It is Josh, Sean, and Rocky Foreman. And the reason why I respect them so much, I understand they have a TV show. It's not one of the cable channels I get. I think it's Nat Geo. But I'll answer that in just a sec, Linda. But the reason why I respect them is these guys went through a very profound and dangerous type haunting as little boys. So they've been through it before. And for over 12 years, long before they got the TV show, and they haven't taken a dime for this. Like they don't even ask people for money for traveling. They go all across the US and they help mainly families that really need help with the paranormal. Years ago, before I knew what I know now, in the extremely haunted house we lived in, believe me, it would have been a godsend to have somebody like them come. So I'm pretty sure I've seen them use the necrometer. They've definitely used what we're going to use, which is a spirit talker, and they use Ghost Tube quite a bit. I also enjoy the Paranormal Files with Colin Brown, and he usually investigates with his brother-in-law Connor, and his mom and dad will go along with him a lot of the time. So he's definitely used it. And the other two I enjoy are, now they say the only ones I've seen that are identical twin boys out there that do paranormal investigation with their best friend Garrett. So that's River and Ryan Reese, and they're the twin paranormal. So Linda Nelson says, so does that enhance and fine tune some of the messages, visions, or voices we hear? Well, it can, but the problem is sometimes depending, like reverb is, I don't know how to quite, like I'm not an expert in this, but like they'll have echo is what I'm thinking of, and the reverb sometimes will contribute to it. So it will repeat whatever comes through, but it repeats, and then the reverb almost seems to draw it out. So it's really hard to understand. So I think spirit, depending on how they can manipulate energy, could use it in any way. I have seen spirit take, I think it's Josh. Howie's probably with his family tonight, but Howie Odell, he comes up as Ed Odell unless he's on YouTube. And he's got the Rift Nation Network. You got to check out some of his programs there. He's got some great shows. Anyways, he had recommended it's by Hope Parent. Is it the Hope Box? Let me go in there and see. And I haven't found it to be really, like, everything comes through in reverse. So say I said hello would come through backwards. Like those are the type of speech that comes through. But spirit is supposed to be able to manipulate it so it comes through as clear speech. And there's a little bit of finagling with the buttons with that one. So I haven't gotten anything clear that's come through on that particular device. And I think David downloaded the Miracle Box, which is by Steve Huff, that does a lot of ITC. Again, it sounds very much to me like it's in reverse. So each one has different technology. Hi, Ken. Merry Christmas to you and your loved one. I don't know if she wants me to say her name, so I'll just say to you and your loved one, thanks for joining us. Let me find it here. I'm going to go into paranormal. So Ghost Tube is, I really like that. That's with Amy and Jared. They're over in Australia, and they've got quite a few different apps. Their newest one is called Ghost Seer. Now, that one is pretty profound because what happens is it doesn't necessarily communicate, but Linda, as you were asking about visions, for example, spirit manipulates the energy from Ghost Seer, uses AI, and will send you back an actual AI type picture. Like if you ask, what do you look like? What do you see? Or it could be anything. And you'll hear a dinging of a bell when it shows up. So let's try the one I usually find that's most effective is Spirit Talker. So let me see if I got the volume on here. I do. So let's see what comes through on that. I'm loading it right now. This is what it looks like. It's just loading. So we'll wait till, sorry, I got a light on here. That's probably not helping. Here, let's see if I take it off. Sorry, I got to go backwards too. See, there, it's ready to go. So I just got to hit the go button. So we can try it and see. I don't know if anything's going to come through or not. We'll see. Okay, so it's sweeping right now. Here, I'll cover that light up again. I don't know if you guys can see that. It would be on your right looking at the screen. It's going up and down. And when something communicates, it stops and we may hear the phrase. So if somebody has a question, we can certainly ask and see. I have no idea what that means. I've never seen that phrase, tongue terror. Well, that's interesting. Well, we don't want to hear from somebody that's doing something like that. So we're only looking for positive, loving spirits to come through. So Merry Christmas to everybody out there. So if somebody's got a question, let's try asking it. I got to tell you guys, I've never seen that phrase come through here before. Interesting. Now, isn't it I don't know why it made me think of that, but there's Krampus, as we call it, or Krampus, and we look at it as being very evil. I have a friend, Jürgen, over in Austria, and he sent me the coolest video. He says, you guys all say Krampus, but it's Krampus. And he calls me Lorilei because my name comes from German mythology, which he also speaks. I'm not German, but he actually found 4 Krampuses, I guess, on the street corner, and he got them to actually record a video for me. It was so cool. But he said it's not evil over there. They don't look at it as something evil. That's what it made me think of, because you usually see this long, long tongue. Okay, so Danielle says, my deceased husband, Clarence, can you tell me if I will get a new home? This thing just came through with wind. And again, I'm not claiming it to be accurate or not. So let's try this. So we're trying to reach out to Danielle Long's deceased husband, Clarence. Can you tell her whether or not she will get a new home? I don't know what will come through, because I've just mostly let these play because I want to see what comes through and see if it makes some sense. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. So let's see. So Clarence, if you're out there, do you think you might, I don't know, the Ovulus might be better for us. That doesn't have speech. It has typing, and it'll give you yes and no and things like that. I'm feeling an answer for you, Danielle, and I don't usually tell the quote unquote future, but I am feeling an answer for you. So we'll wait and see. I guess I can tell you. Oh, hang on. I got to go back to because I see Ken asking, Julie, do you have to take potassium, which is K2 as well, with vitamin D? I'm going to go back because I think I missed that. Julie when we were talking about different natural supplements, she said she takes 5,000 milligrams of vitamin D daily. Yeah, I take 10,000 actually myself. My vitamin D is really low though. When I start getting sick, I sometimes take a double dose. Yep. And I work in a reference lab and doorway. Okay, so we got a doorway. That's not going to help us. So Clarence, if you can come through, Danielle would like to know from the other side if she's going to get a new home. So back to Julie, she said, I work in a reference lab and quite a few people are deficient in vitamin D. And indeed, they are. Now, I've had somebody by the name of Dr. Carrie Madej, who is a actual medical doctor, but she does a lot of homeopathy and things like that. And it was really interesting to me that she said in her practice, I am not diagnosing, not sharing medical advice, just sharing what she had said to me once. She was in a live podcast actually, and I typed a question, and she said that she had found that a lot of people have like an underlying infection, could even be like dental or something when your vitamin D is low. That's not the only reason why. But okay, so I would be, Ken, I'm going to say right now with the K2, no, you have to be extremely careful with potassium. I would never tell somebody to go take potassium. So I am going to tell you that because that is a medical precaution. Because unless you have a baseline of what your potassium is you never take potassium supplements on your own. And the reason why is...
My name is Rose.
Hello, Rose. Hang tight there for a minute. We were looking for Clarence. This is what's coming through on the Spirit Talker. The reason why you don't take potassium, okay, is because if you increase your potassium level and it's at, say, the top end of normal or a little high, increased potassium can cause cardiac arrests. It can cause all kinds of problems. So I will tell you right now. People are coming. Okay, well, we're looking for Clarence, please, and only people with love and light. So I would be extremely careful taking potassium without a baseline and without some kind of medical observation. That is one drug that can be extremely dangerous, and a lot of people don't know that. So I would suggest you be very, very careful. Oh, your grandmother's name is Rose. Maybe it's your grandma coming through. Rose, are you Danielle's grandma? Because next that came after that, Danielle, was people are coming. Just let me I was thinking that too, Kevin. I got to get caught up with these comments. So Kevin, Z-Sun Dragon says, a new home would have a doorway. Yeah, I was thinking that myself, Kevin. That's funny you did. And then Michelle said, okay, she looks okay now. Carrie was surprised she mentioned the patches. I know what you're talking about. So I had Dr. Rima Labo, who's a friend of mine, and I quickly saw a message. I got to get back to her. I have a gazillion messages to get back to. I haven't been on social media. And she came on to talk about these new patches that are out there.
They found my body.
Okay, well, I don't think they're talking about, I don't know, Danielle. That's what came through here. Like I said, I'm still not convinced 100% that these are accurate. Sometimes it comes through and it's very accurate. Other times, sometimes it makes no sense at all. We'll try a different one. I'm just letting it play while I'm talking. So like you said, your grandmother's name is Rose. Plus you have to remember too, it could be just spirit popping in, right? Like these could be different people just sort of passing by, leaving a message and popping back on. So Julie says, yes, we call a lot of high potassium values. And I knew you would know that about potassium, Julie, because she works in a lab. It can be critical to someone's health. And it can be with cardiac issues, but if you got any kidney problems or whatever, that is one drug you just don't take willy-nilly. So this is a Facebook user. For every 5 to 10,000 units of D3 being recommended and tested for, we are recommending 100 micrograms. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I'm still going to say I don't care if it's from Dr. Berg. Dr. Berg is not caring for you. And I'm going to tell you I appreciate what you're sharing, but I would never, as an RN, and I have worked in critical care, I have worked in cardiac step down, I've worked out in community, and I have seen people, if you've got kidney problems and you don't know you got kidney problems, I am telling you potassium is not something you fool around with. Because I do have potassium in the home.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you're here. Well, we need to know who you are that you're here. Thank you very much. Because Rose was here. We didn't know if that was Danielle's grandma. And then you said they found my body. So I'm not sure who that was. So it may be, you got to understand this. This may be from a doctor, and that's okay. But everybody's different. Every human being is different. And a lot of people, you're not dealing with the doctor yourself on a case-by-case basis. I don't care if they're naturopathic, don't care if they are a medical doctor. That is, I'm just going to put that out there because I think it's so, and I'm not poo-pooing that. I'm just saying you got to be so careful with it because I have looked after people that I've seen these type of things. I'm going to tell you, following true crime, I haven't seen a case in a long time, but I have seen throughout the years people that understand how potassium works. Let's just say you could take somebody's life very easily with a vial of potassium if you knew how and where to inject it where it would never be found. And I'm not telling people what to do or how to do it. I'm just telling you there have been cases where that's happened. Yes, as Julie says, every person has different vitamin requirements and we have different body makeups. We also, when you're going to, like there's certain ones that are water soluble vitamins, for example. Not all of them are. There are some that are, that it's not going to harm your body. That when you have enough, you will excrete it or whatever will happen. But you have to be very careful because vitamins are not necessarily, when you're supplementing, are not necessarily just easy things.
Static.
Now it says static. I think we're going to switch this because it said, yes, I'm here. I said, static, yes, I'm here. They found my body. People are coming. My name is Rose. Doorway was, then below that was wind. The first one was tongue terror. What a terrible way to start. So, like I said, so Julie's going to agree with me. Yeah, exactly. She goes, yes, often a cause of death on crime shows. Yes. And I have seen this before. I think that would be the safest. Absolutely. Facebook user. I'm not sure who it is. You got a couple options. Apparently, if you're watching this on Facebook, I think up at the top, it's supposed to say click here to give StreamYard permission. My co-host David mentioned that. Now, I don't see that because I produce my own show and I'm in StreamYard. If not, you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Just give them permission to use your picture and your name, or you can type your name behind, or you can stay anonymous if you want to. I think that would be the easiest. Try to get your supplements naturally. Vitamin D is one, though, that you can get with the sun, but it definitely helps with the immune system. But the way they're presented, vitamins out there, that they're very innocuous, they're very safe, and a lot of them are. The water soluble ones aren't, you're not going to hurt yourself, but the ones that aren't, and we have some that are called fat soluble that your body can store them, and then you can end up getting very toxic and not even realize. And I'm not trying to scare people away from vitamin supplementation. I'm saying you need to do some research and you need to have a baseline, and you kind of have to know what you're doing. Okay, so now they're saying past. Okay, we're going to end this session right here. We're going to try, let's try you. Sometimes spirit talker's good. Other times I have found that it does exactly what we got tonight. Hi, Sandra Sharp. You're doing strong ginger tea. So are you using that? What are you using that for, Facebook user? Because I don't know what your name is here. Sorry, I can't see it. Because ginger is very good for a lot of things, and it can help with nausea, things like that. So people use it sometimes with a cold. So it's things like that. But you got to be, like I say, especially when it comes, and I can't say this enough, and I'm going to state it one more time. Be very careful. Like if you're taking a multivitamin, there's not enough in there that could be toxic to most people. Okay. But you still need to be careful. The safest and easiest way, it's Ken. Hi, Ken. So the safest and easiest way is to try to get your vitamins and nutrients naturally. And then Julie says, it's the same with medications. They can accumulate in the tissues in the body. Yes. And for example, there are some medications, I see them with blood pressure medications, sometimes with heart medications. There's others too that can be taken with citrus fruits, for example, or things like that. Or there's all kinds of things that you have to be careful with. And I don't say this to scare people. It's just that you need to be careful and educate yourselves. But we should do that with everything, right? If you're not sure, ask, or if you're not able to, do some research and don't look up the side effects right away, because then it's awful. Because I know here where I am in Ontario, we can sign in and get our lab results, for example, and we get them faster than the doctor does as the patient. And I was talking, because we just, the lab spot out all the same lab here in Ontario. And I was talking one time, I think I was bringing my youngest for some blood work. And I said, this must be a nightmare for you guys, in the way that when people get their blood results and it reads high, for example, or it reads low, and it doesn't meet within, say, the norm, there's usually a scale, say, for your hemoglobin or red blood cells or whatever, right? And then when people see that, yeah, they do research, and it sounds terrible, some of the things that could possibly cause the issue, and it just becomes so stressful for people and scary. I don't know what the answer is, but the thing is, right, do your research or talk to a pharmacist. If you're I can't speak for other countries, but I know here in Canada, at least in Ontario for sure, we have naturopathic stores where you can go buy, or health food stores. And depending on who you speak to, there's usually somebody or a few people that are quite knowledgeable about the supplements in there. And you can ask the questions that you need to. So, for example, Michelle's sharing, be careful with green tea extract, not green tea. But the extract, because they're sharing it could cause kidney and liver damage. So the extract. So that's what I'm saying. All these things that are, and I think it's because it's a misnomer. We hear natural, right? And we think safe, because nature, like Ken, I think you were the one that said, the best way to get what your body needs is through what we eat, mainly, right? but you still got to be careful. And that's not to create more fear. It's just to, I don't think it hurts to be educated, especially if we're going to be putting something in our body, or we're going to be drinking it or putting it on our body or whatever. So let's try Ghost Tube tonight. We'll see. I see Ghost Tube. It's calibrating right now. They said less than 10 days till Christmas. Guess what? Christmas caught up with us. So I've got it listening. This is Ghost Tube. I don't know if you got here. I'll see if I cover. Yeah, if I cover that up. You see my messy closet there. Hang on. I don't know what it just did there. I just heard a noise. Okay, let's see. There, now you can watch me on there instead. Yeah, so it's listening. So Danielle, I'm going to try this and see for you. So Clarence, if you're out there, I don't know why it's giving me, I've never seen that. It gave me a little triangle in the corner with an exclamation point. Oh, maybe it wasn't connecting. Oh, it's calibrating. That's what that means. Okay, so Clarence, if you're out there, if you might be able to, would you be able to let Danielle know if she's going to move to a new home? So, it was my messy thing there. Okay, so Michelle wants me to ask if we are in a pole shift. Okay, so we'll see. So I'm just going to tell you, Danielle, what I'm feeling and picking up. And I always tell people that we're all human beings. We all have intuitive abilities. We are all capable of following, quote unquote, our gut, if you will. But when you ask that, and I don't usually tell people the future, but I keep feeling a strong yes for you that you are going to find a new home. Now, I don't know if you know already or whatever that may be, but I really do feel like that's coming. I just heard spring. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I guess we'll see. You have to let me know. But yeah, we'll see what Spirit tells us. And also, since you're listening, Michelle's asking, she wants to know if we're in a pole shift. I don't know if we are or we're not, but you can let us know. So we'll leave it on. It's listening right now. That's one thing I find with Ghost Tube. It does not answer as quickly as Spirit Talker. So, and again, there's a lot of people that poo-poo these apps from the App Store. And I have to say, I'm not 100% convinced that they are working. Oh, so Danielle, you say you're working on it? Okay. Yeah, I don't know why, because usually I tell people, if I'm going to tell them something from the future, that at this time and moment, because we all have free will, there's different timelines, different dimensions. We're master creators. We create our own universe and our own life path. We really do. And so it's very okay. So Kevin says, I feel she's on the right path towards getting a new place. Thanks for that, Kevin. I'm glad that you shared that. Anybody else that feels like they want to share, you're more than welcome. But as soon as I saw your question, I heard a hard yes. Want. It's what I want, is what this just said. It literally, it's gone already. It said, it's what I want. That is interesting. Okay, well, so only things of love and light are coming through here tonight. That's all that's allowed. So we've got a couple questions here. So that was the answer. I'm not sure if it was the house, Danielle, or was it Michelle's? Okay, so Nicole's sharing, I got the color red. Does that mean anything, Danielle? Yeah, you guys, let's go along with that. Let's share that. If somebody's got a question you want to ask, we've got a lot of intuitive people here. And remember, even if you ask something like, does that resonate? It may not resonate. So like when I do a reading with someone, I actually gave away a reading on the 22nd on Carrie Lynn's show, and met the loveliest lady. I got to get a hold of her tomorrow. And then I have a couple regular clients I'm going to be working with over the holidays. But for example, if I'm going to give somebody something from the future, right? Or say you say, I got the color red. That's where I was going. And something doesn't resonate, I usually try and help people I do readings with, unless they don't really care. But I will help them find the software to record while we're doing a reading That way we're not taking notes. You're able to just sit back and listen and then go back to the reading as necessary. And the reason why is, say you had said, Nicole, I got the color red. Does that mean anything? And it might not mean anything right now. Oh, shoot, I just spilled my drink. It may not mean anything right now, but you may find down the road or a week from now, you know exactly what that color meant. So I always like to tell people there are no right and wrong answers. And even if, say, somebody picks something up in here tonight, we've got a whole group. You could be picking it up for somebody else and not even realize that you picked it up for them. Yeah, when you said that red, I keep seeing a red door. Do you like that color, Nicole? Sorry, not Nicole, Danielle. I don't know why I heard red door. I don't know if it means anything or not. And Ken says, if I push in the right direction, things will happen. Well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. And okay, so Nicole, Danielle says, yes, the color red does resonate. Michelle saying her new home will have a red door. You have to let us know if that happens for you. But okay, so this comment right here, and this again isn't to be judgmental, to point any fingers, anything. If I push in the right direction, things will happen. Yes, they can. They can. And we can manifest them. But see if this resonates with you guys. And I really do.
Father.
We've got father here. So I'm not sure what that means. If it resonates, let me know. Thank you for that. Anyways, so if something doesn't happen that I really wanted it to happen, or I have been working on manifesting it and it's not coming to fruition, sometimes that's not meant for your highest good, right? So ever heard the saying, careful what you wish for, it just might come true? So there's a good possibility sometimes that even though we can be working really hard on something and really trying to manifest something, and it's not coming to fruition because it wasn't meant to happen in this timeline, like it doesn't go along with whatever you may need in that time. Or same thing, I always tell myself I'm going somewhere and I'm running already a bit late, and then a train crosses my path and I'm really late and I'm stressed and aggravated. And then I got to remind myself that train maybe happened for a reason. I was delayed for a reason. Had I gone through without that train being there, could have had a completely different result for whatever reason it may be. So okay, so Danielle says, okay, I will. Yeah, let us know. We'd love to know. And Herbert's sharing here, like his friend Roger Garza Sr., who I'm going to be joining him and Faye Garza on Saturday. I don't know why I almost said October, December 30th on This Mug's For You. He says, Roger says, write it down for future reference. Absolutely. Write it down. So, but the thing is, right, because sometimes a lot of information comes through in a reading when I do one. So that's why I like people to just record it. So you can just really sit back, listen, take it all in, and then maybe listen to it a month from now. Sometimes people listen to it 6 months or a year from now, and then they go, holy cow, I know exactly what that meant. Michelle says, Father Christmas. Oh, and then timing is important. Timing is important, but I guess where I'm going with that is sometimes we really want something to happen, but it doesn't happen. And it's because maybe it was never meant for us to happen, even though we may think it's what we want in that time. Something to keep in mind. That's what I usually like to, and if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But it kind of makes sense sometimes, right? Because we can't see the whole big picture. And I'm not saying that our guides are controlling our lives or anything. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it gets into really complicated things about the fact that we do choose who our parents are, who we're going to meet, major things like that. Our life isn't planned out. We can screw it all up if we want, but we're all here for a reason, all of us. So Linda says, I woke up in the middle of the night with an exact layout of the home space I wanted. I drew it out. I'm looking forward to see how it pans out. I love that. Love it. So something like that, for example, that's something physical. If you really know that that's your dream space. Thank you, Julie. I forgot to add that, and you were so ready to read that in just one sec. So you've woken up. Maybe this is your dream space. This is what you really want. So you dreamt about it, first of all. So more than likely, maybe it was prophetic, but you woke up and you drew it out, because just the act of drawing puts more energy into it. Plus the visual of seeing it makes it more tangible and realistic. I love what you did there. And this is what I was talking about with Julie, because I forgot to mention this, and this is so important. Sometimes you are meant for something better. And I like to hang on to that, actually. If it didn't come to me, wasn't meant maybe for me at this time, and something better is coming to me in the future. And I think that's so important. Or as Ken says, or people are only meant to be in your life for a time. I truly agree with that, and I believe in that. I believe that we make agreements with certain people for whatever reason. Sometimes they're worse enemies, or people that just, we all have them in our lives, may want to avoid them. But sometimes those people are in our lives for a reason. We've made an agreement, and they've agreed that for whatever reason they're going to do what they're going to do, because we have the choice with how we're going to react, or what we're going to do with that. There's a lesson in everything that we do, right? There really is. It's just whether we choose to see it, step back from it. For example, I'm going to share this quickly. I had to go to my partner's Christmas party. And since I hurt my back and I'd broken my ankle in a fall, I can't wear high heels anymore, and I love them. So I don't have any. And so I thought, okay, I'll pick up a pair of sort of dressier shoes. It's a Christmas party. Found the perfect pair of shoes, perfect size.
I want it.
You want it.
Buried.
And it's buried. Okay. Now it's getting very chatty. So and they were on sale. They were half price. And I bring them up to the cash register. Somebody put the wrong price tag on there. They were full price. I was in a hurry and I said, forget it. And I was really annoyed when I left, because I go, perfect shoes, perfect size, perfect price. What more could I ask for? Except they weren't. So I was kind of annoyed, and I got in the car and I literally said to Spirit, okay, why did this happen? Everything happens for a reason. Why did this happen? Of course, I didn't hear an answer, but I knew there had to be a reason. Sure enough, we go to the party the next night. It's kind of slippery out, and there was no way I was going to be able to walk in those new shoes at all. No way at all. We had to do stairs, and I do walk with a cane when I'm out. I don't need it just in case my leg gives out with my back. Long story short, I ended up bringing the shoes back. I never wore them and got my money for it. Now, whatever reason that happened, had they been on half price, they would have been clearance. I wouldn't have got the money back, right? Looking back, it happened for a reason. I asked Spirit. Now, I don't know why I bought them or why it happened, but I now know why they weren't half off like I expected. So I guess it's all about perspective and the way we look at it. Hi, Kaysen. Merry Christmas to you. I was thinking about you over the holiday. I hope you're okay too, and welcome. And Julie, yes, sometimes we set limits on what we can receive. And that is part of it, about asking or trying to manifest what we hope to have happen, and not hope, what we want to have happen in our life. And it's exactly what Julie said. Sometimes we're meant for something better than what we've been expecting. But
Stay with me.
No, we're not going to stay with you. I have no idea what this is talking about either. I'm just running this ghost box while we're talking. We'll see what happens. But I think it's so important when we ask or we put something out there to manifest, we put this or better, because we do put limits on ourselves, right? About how we feel about ourselves. And we all know it. We all do it. I've done it myself. You see this gorgeous palatial mansion, and mine is, I next house I ever buy, I want it on a beach, right? And the first thing we think of is, oh, I can't afford that. Well, no, there's no way I'd ever have a house that big or a house like this. We put our own limits on ourselves. Who says you can't have it, right? If it's meant for you and we are powerful manifestors, why not? And Kaysen, sorry, I'm going to go back a little bit. Linda says, with what Julie said, I think we forget that we can dream big. We don't need to dream or desire small. Absolutely. And one of my favorite sayings is, you know how people say think outside the box? I say, what about if we just think that there is no box? There is no limits, right? It's true. And Casey said, that's very kind of you. Well, I was thinking about you. All of you guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say, I'm so happy to have all of you here. And like I said, I would have just been sitting around. I baked till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I got to the bulk of the wrapping. I always say this year I've been saying my love language is gifts, because it is. I love buying gifts. I'm a good shopper, but there was a lot to wrap. So I would have been probably.
Where are we?
Where are we? I'm not sure where you are. I'm just turned ghost tube on and it's just chitter chattering away. It hasn't really said a lot lately, but it's chitter chattering away here. It usually was quite quiet. And Jackie says, angels were looking out for you. I agree. Because like I said, I asked Spirit when I was annoyed. I was super annoyed. Like, why did that happen? Like, there had to be a reason for this. And I know there's a reason why it happened, but why did that happen? And I literally heard, you'll know, but we have to be open for looking back about what we went through to see maybe what the lessons in there or why something happens. Oh, thanks, Ken. He said, actually nice me having a show by myself. Well, you popped in later, but I said, these are my favorite kind of shows to do. I love doing it because we get to talk about whatever you all want. When I have a guest and, you know, they're here and they've got a lot to say and to share, I don't get to always read every comment. And I love doing this because we get to talk about what you all want to talk about. And I love each and every one of you. Love is says, I love rapping. I don't love the rapping. I don't. You know why? Because you know what kids are, well, my eldest and his fiance were, especially his fiance, he really likes to just really savor it and enjoy. But you know, I used to love rapping, and then there was somebody to rap, and like it was like 10 minutes later, the house is or living room is full of wrapping paper, everything's unwrapped. And so now I use gift bags. The first year the boys were a little disappointed. Now they know, but still by the time you write on every little tag, and I do love beautiful wrapping though. So Linda says, I'm just letting my daughter do her thing in the kitchen and keeping out of it. Much more peaceful and more time on my hands than Thanksgiving was. I'm enjoying the quiet time. Good for you, because that's a hard thing to do. You know, I went to my son's house last night, like I said, for Christmas dinner, Christmas Eve, and they did a beautiful job. Don't get me wrong. But I was sitting there and they had this Christmas sign up, and it was wooden. It was all these trees. It was so cute. But it was spelled CRHTSTMAS. And I was going to say, you guys do know your Christmas sign's not spelling Christmas, right? And I literally heard, I'm guessing it was Spirit or the angels saying, just don't say anything. And so I didn't. And then we were sitting down after dinner, and I actually heard the story about how they had gotten this piece, and then it was indeed spelt wrong, but it had so many memories for them. It was one of their favorite Christmas pieces. And I said to them, I was going to say something and I didn't. Now, it doesn't quite equate with cooking. But the thing is, right, when we step back and just like you said, look at the gift in it for yourself, Linda, that it's giving you much more peace and you're enjoying the quiet time. So you guys, this went by way too fast. We got like a minute left here. Holy cow, I knew it was going to fly by. Ask its name. Well, if it's going to tell us, we'll see in the next minute. Okay, so Kevin's going back to Danielle's house. And if her door is not red, but that is the house, she can paint it red. He, for example. Sometimes it's not good to rush to buy too. I am a very good shopper. Really, really, really good shopper. I'm not cheap, but I like, for example, we don't have a lot of Ray Dunn stuff. I know it's kind of passe in certain spots, but I could not believe when I came across 2 beautiful Ray Dunn shower curtains, for example. And believe me, they were not what you would pay for them anywhere else. They weren't secondhand, they were brand new. But I am that way. Like, I know I will find things, like I'm not going to buy just a bargain thing. And if you have to, that's okay. But I am a really good shopper. Like, I have a huge crafting thing that I do, but I told him. I think this is being nonsense tonight, you guys, unfortunately. I thought we'd try it and just let it run and see what happens. But I buy things when I can get them on sale or what have you. So I don't just always just rush out. You're listening on headphones because Gordana, that's Ken's significant other, is watching TV. Interesting. So Kevin says he loves gift bags. Lovis says gift bags are difficult for her, or them, I should say. That's okay. Wrapping works best. Sometimes it does. He said works best for you. I think he's talking to Lovis. And Linda says it was hard, but I think the piece is worth it. I would agree with you, Linda. Hard to step back and not step in, but sometimes, right? And then the best way we learn is through the mistakes that we make ourselves. And it'd probably be much quicker and faster and easier way for us to be able to tell them. Here. Now they're saying over here. And Linda says, thank you for doing this. Oh, so Danielle, you love to bargain shop. I do too. Well, guess what, you guys? We get to do this again. First day of the new year next year. I purposely did not book any guests over the holiday season. So I'm going to be back next week, January 1st. I should say next year, I guess, 2024. We get to do this all over again. And you know what? I just love being here with all of you. Thank you so much. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, or whatever you may celebrate. Happy holidays. And remember, if you are feeling alone or maybe not with the people that you would want to be with, this is just one day of the year. And you are never alone. Okay? You aren't. You're not. You've got your guides, you've got your angels. Reach out to people. And if you can't, maybe you've got anybody you can reach out to. Sometimes the biggest gift you can give to yourself is by being a gift to others. So maybe there's people less fortunate. You can go out and maybe volunteer a couple hours of your time or something like that. Believe me, it is such a gift when you do it. It really, really is. And I love each and every one of you all. I'm so glad you joined me here. Like I said, I'm going to be here next year, but I'm going to be here before the new year. I'm going to be here on Thursday with David Hansel, my good friend and co-host on The Thing at the Foot of the Bed from 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I'll see y'all next Monday, same time, same space, but it'll be next year. It'll be 2024, Year of the Dragon. It's going to be an exciting, powerful, amazing year. I truly believe it. Okay. I send you all so much love and light. And again, you all of you just made my night. So we'll see you on Thursday. Okay, everybody. Stay tuned. I believe the Horsefly Chronicles have a pre-recorded show coming up. So there'll still be a new show on for all of you. Thank you, Christopher James. He said, God bless you, Lorilei. No, same right back to all of you. Okay. So we'll see you on Thursday, everybody. Take care. Love you all.